Hey everyone, Srinivas Rao here, founder of Notion Essentials, and today I'm going to talk about how to use Notion as a content creator and a blogger or any kind of content that you want to create, but we're going to use writing as the example here. So as you'll see here, I have a section called free writing, and the purpose of free writing really is exactly what it sounds like. Most of the time we don't necessarily know what we want to write, so what I do is every day I write 1,000 words, and you can see here I create an entry, it gets a date. And if you look back here, you'll see I've created these for every month. Initially, I had these all basically in one table, but it started getting confusing. So I actually organized it by month. So every month what I do is I create this very simple table for the month and the year. And then I go in and I do my entry. So you'll see here that today's entry has everything that I want. Now, one thing that happens when you're free writing often is that you sometimes don't remember what you write. Eventually, that's going to make it into a blog post or something else. So I actually set it up so that I could tag it, and I'll show you an example here. If we go into May, you'll see here that I actually have tags for various things. So if I decide to go back, and put it into my editorial calendar, you can see, what the topic was or what blog post idea it was related to. So pretty simple. So let me show you how you actually do this. So let's say that we were going to create a new free writing section for the month of July. So what we do is we just create a table. We would call it July 2020, not a table, sorry, a page. And then what we'd do is we would actually create a simple table inside the same way we did before. And you're going to have basically this inline table. There you'll have the name, and I usually just change, this to date. Now, you can actually make this as simple or as complicated as you want, but because of the fact that it's free writing, I tend to make it very simple. And then what you do is for every entry, you just go ahead and create the date, and then you basically, let's change this so that it says date so we know that it's a date. And then we go in and we can actually have our entry for the day in here. So you can use this process for journaling, for free writing, whatever it is. So that's one really useful tool in terms of how I use this as a content creator. Now, where this actually starts to be interesting is when you actually use it for your editorial calendar. So let's go here. You'll see here that my editorial calendar is a bit more detailed in terms of what you can do with it. So you can see a number of different blog posts, titled as work in progress or whatever it is, and you can actually have different statuses here. So you can see here that I have sort of 4 phases because of the fact that something when you're writing really just starts out as an idea. I have a potential publication date, and as you can see here, I've missed some of these, they just didn't get done. And you can also use filters. So that way you don't end up getting overwhelmed. What you'll see here is that if I actually remove all of these filters, what will happen is you'll see everything that is inside of the editorial calendar. And as you can see here, it's loading and it's way bigger. So you can see all of the posts that you've published, when they were published, and all of that stuff. So let's go back and redo the filter again. And what we'll do here is we'll actually filter by things that are a work in progress. So we basically choose status and we'll say work in progress. And when you do that, you'll actually see only the things that are the works in progress. Now, one of the things that you also want to be able to do is to have some sort of checklist for when you're working on an idea. And so you can see here that I have a checklist of, did we have the proofreader look at it? Did we have links that need to be added? Did we add a call to action if it's being published elsewhere? So you can see this is kind of a work in progress. And then one of the really neat things is that inside of Notion, you can actually invite other people to collaborate with you. So for example, you can see here our proofreader Roshan has full access to the editorial calendar. So anytime I want her to look at a post, I basically tag her here and say, Roshan, can you look at this please, or whatever it is that I want to do. Now, the thing that is really, really useful here is that you end up being able to document all of your ideas, because the very nature of writing or creating content of any kind is that ideas don't come to you in a linear form. You have them at various times, and one of the most useful things that you can do is to capture all of your ideas, and an editorial calendar is a really fantastic way to do that. So let's say that you have an idea for a blog post, but you don't know what you want it to be. Well, the nice thing is you can say, hey, this is my new blog post, whatever the title is, and you can say, okay, cool. So now we have an idea here, and we called it, it's tagged as work in progress, but the moment we make it an idea, it goes away. And One of the things that's really useful in terms of using Notion as a writer is to just jot down whatever ideas you have. Even if an idea is half-baked, you can kind of see here I have tons of things that are a work in progress, other ones that are just an idea. Some of them are just, false starts. Anne Lamott, the writer, says that, all good writing begins with terrible first efforts and, what she calls the shitty first draft. And you can see here these are all ideas that I haven't really, fully formed. They're basically just kind of works in progress, and that way you never have a shortage of things to write about. James Clear, who runs one of the most popular blogs on the internet, has sold over 1 million copies of his book Atomic Habits, also swears by having some sort of constant repository where he captures all of his ideas. In fact, if you get into the habit of capturing your ideas as a writer or any kind of content creator, you're never going to have any sort of creative block or writer's block. You're always going to have something that you can tackle. So this is really a very simple overview of how you use Notion as a content creator. And I've used writing here as an example, but you can do this for any kind of content. You can do this with videos, you can do this with graphics, any kind of content you're creating. And if you want to get a more detailed look at how I've set up Notion for my personal workflow, check out our other video about how to design your personal workflow in Notion. And if you want help with this idea and you want to go deeper and get an understanding of how to set up Notion, just click on the link below and visit our notionessentials.com website, and we'll actually do a free consultation with you on how to set up your personal workflow inside of Notion.